Hi, I'm Taryn and welcome back to the Most Fashionable Crime YouTube channel. This week's episode was focused on Patrick Kelly. And I started the episode talking about how when the AIDS epidemic started, that the fashion industry turned their backs on people that died from AIDS, kind of erasing their history or attempting to erase their history within the fashion space. In this week's episode, I wanted to talk more about how the fashion industry can wreak havoc on the mental health and well-being of people that work in the industry. So I think like the catchphrase, or at least one of the catchphrases of Project Runway, is something along the lines of one day you're in, one day you're out, and that's honestly a lot of times how the industry works. This is not limited to just designers, but a lot of times designers can really feel the brunt of that, especially when you're an up-and-coming designer or an indie designer. So designers as creative people, their work is their creation. So if people are saying, oh, we don't like your work, you know, that's going to affect them personally and professionally. And I'll just go to say that the one day you're in, one day that you're out goes for a lot of different industries. We see it with apps, we see it with websites, we see it with food products. Like, it's not limited to the fashion industry, but I think the reason being is once you're out, a lot of times it's really hard to get back in. So say you're a designer, are you going to be able to go to another house? Are you going to be able to start over again with your own house? Like that type of thing, versus if you work at a company, you're like a data analyst, you can just go to another company, like say your company shuts down. You see what I'm saying? We can talk about how the fashion industry affects the mental health and well-being of consumers, whether it's seeing images of people that don't represent you, whether it's being influenced to continuously buy clothes that you can't afford, or just continually trying to keep up with the Joneses and not repeat outfits, or if you post an outfit you can't wear it again. It does affect the consumer as well. And then we can also talk about how it affects models. Of course, you probably heard about eating disorders, trying to alter your image to fit whatever made up standards are on trend right now. Another thing on the consumer side is just posting your outfits. I recently tweeted on my personal account, I believe, that I don't feel like people should play fashion police to regular people. If you want to play fashion police people that can afford stylists, have access to all the fine clothing and that kind of thing. Don't sit and make fun of people on the internet for no reason. I want to say that money absolutely plays a factor in the well-being of people that work in the fashion industry. I think it's common knowledge that people in the fashion industry do not get paid nearly enough for what they do, the time they spend in it, what they, spend on school. A lot of creative industries are really kind of meant for people that come from wealthy and affluent families. So when you are someone that works in fashion that does not have that type of backing, it is very hard, especially when you have to almost always live in a major city that tends to be super expensive. Like New York City is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Even if you work in LA, that's going to be super expensive. Say you go overseas to work, that's going to be expensive. Like it's expensive to work in the fashion industry. Even now, there's a lot more pressure on high-end fashion designers to release more collections or release more styles throughout the year compared to normal. Like usually you have like fall, winter, spring, summer, and you might have resort or pre-fall, but now it's like constant newness from even the most high-end designers, and that's a lot of pressure because your buyers, your financial backers, your boards, whoever is on that team that is running the sales, looking at the sales, they want every drop to be a hit. And that's a lot of pressure. And it's also hard because the way you're taught in school is you have somewhat of a longer period of design development, researching. And now like with the constant newness, like you might be like 3 years ahead, or if not more. The lack of representation and diversity definitely plays a role in the fashion industry at all levels. I would say that that can affect your health and well-being as well, just because being surrounded by people, whether you're a model, designer, a journalist, a stylist, whatever, people that you work with that don't look like you can, be very challenging. I do want to mention that we have to pay more attention to people that work in garment manufacturing and textile manufacturing. Like we have to fix things at all levels of the fashion industry, from the fibers being produced to the end result going to consumers. Like there needs to be improvement across the board. I would say that like me working in or seeing different apparel manufacturing companies, I feel like a lot of times, even if they are ethical, I feel like a lot of it can be dehumanizing just because they're just like worker bees. I feel like there has to be things in place to humanize the people that work in fashion and other industries. Like it can't just be like, I'm just here to produce money, I'm just here to help someone get rich. I feel like with a lot of jobs, that's just how it feels. And It is what it is, but there are definitely things that can be done to be improved. In this video, I just wanted to explain some things that I think affect the mental health and well-being of people that work in fashion from end to end. And yeah, I might do a more detailed video on my own personal YouTube channel that goes into the mental health and well-being of people that work in fashion. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, listen to episodes, download episodes. Leave a 5-star rating or review if you're listening on podcasts or Spotify. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video. Just support whichever way you can. Thank you so much. See you next week.